Alright, so I wanted to make another video just to kind of speculate more on the Perseus Gunship, because I've spent a little bit more time just looking at the model, trying to figure out a few things out about it before the official reveal. Now, what you might notice is that I have two of the gunships here, one's bigger, one's smaller. The one on the far left is the original file, not messed with at all, whereas the one on the right, next to the Idris, I have adjusted it according to the maneuvering thrusters, which are oddly Aegis design maneuvering thrusters. I'm not sure what that's about, but I upscaled the ship to kind of match that size, the same as the ones that are on the Hammerhead. I'm not too into the lore, but what I do know is that Aegis does sometimes like to work on other manufacturers' ships, like with the Starfarer Gemini. They helped out with that variant, so it could explain why an RSI ship has Aegis maneuvering thrusters. Now, although I did increase the size of the Perseus to a size I think it could be, I don't really want to speculate on the size of the ship, because I don't want to waste your time doing a size comparison of a ship that may end up being half the size of the one here or twice the size of the one here. But what I can tell you is the things I've noticed that are actually on the ship. Now, for some reason, I've seen a lot of people saying that this right here is a manned turret. Same goes for the one that's in the back. This is 100% remote turret. We have this exact same model on the ballista. This little dish here and everything. Even looks to be about the exact same size as the one on the ballista. And again, here's the one on the back. Compare it to that same picture, the one from the ballista. It's a remote turret, definitely. Unless it changes from now to actual concept sale. Right now, both of these are remote turrets. I've also seen people speculating, for whatever reason, that these massive turrets are remote turrets. That's completely not true, because we have actually seen a teaser image that CIG leaked a few weeks ago showing the manned turrets, and you can very clearly see that there is a seat in them. The next thing I wanted to point out, right here on the same level as the bridge, is these little hatches. Now, they are on both sides of the bridge. There's 4 of them total. These are very likely to be escape pods, which would make sense since they are seem to be in easy access from the bridge. Usually when there is a certain number of escape pods, it means that's the crew size. But there's even more than that. There's not just 4, there's 2 more down here. Something else I noticed about the ship is at the front of the ship were these holes right here. And no, these torpedoes were not part of the model. I added them just to see if they fit. Those are size 9s. They fit pretty well, at least with this upscaled version of the ship. I am wondering if these are torpedo tubes. The ship does appear to be missing some spot for like retro thrust. Maybe that's what these could be. Entirely possible. Now, the biggest mystery to me on this ship is what these side parts are. You can see they're kind of oddly shaped. No, I've seen a lot of speculation that these are turrets. I even speculated that maybe they're turrets. Still could be. Although in the concept images we saw, there were no guns on these. But it could just be an oversight. I personally think this middle section right here opens up like a side door. Just because you can see how there's these little hinges and stuff right here. And this is on both sides of the ship. And the funny thing about that is, if that's true, and that's on both sides of the ship, then this little section right here, this little square, is most likely some sort of cargo lift. Now, Now, another reason why I think it's a cargo lift is because on the inside, there's this little box that's pretty well defined. Now, while we're under here, I'd like to point out where I believe the landing gear is, which would mean it can land. These little spots right here, and most likely this section right here are all the landing gear. Especially in the back, definitely look like they could open up for landing gear. Now, right about now, I could pretty much hear all the hammerheads melting. But before you do that, I'd like to point out that Yogi recently posted on Spectrum talking about how turrets in the future, depending on their size, are going to have different rotation rates. Meaning a large turret like this is very likely to have a slower rotation rate, which would mean it's going to be harder to hit things like fighters, whereas the hammerhead practically built for destroying fighters. I mean, if it has torpedo tubes, these large guns, and what I assume are just size 3s on these remote turrets, hopefully they'd be a little bit bigger. But if you were to put hammerhead and this ship together in the same fleet, then you've got a pretty well-rounded fleet going on. Just the two ships alone. You got the one that can really handle fighters, and the one that can handle, as that little image put it, sub-capital ships. I wouldn't melt the hammerhead just yet.